What's going on YouTube? It's your boy CamATL and welcome back to another MLB High Five video with your boy. Drop a like down below because I already know you're gonna love it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and make sure you comment anything in the comment section to enter your name into the $50 giveaway that I do every single week on this channel. Liking this slate so far, really feeling what we got. We got the win again yesterday, so that puts us at going for 3 in a row tonight for MLB. Let's go ahead and keep it going, man. Hopefully everybody had a great night last night. Let's get it. You guys know I like to get in and out. I'm going to talk about my core. I'm going to do 2 pitchers, 3 batters, and then we're going to do home run predictions at the end. All right? So, starting it off, first thing I'm going to go with is Lucas Giolito. All right, Giolito is my favorite pitcher on the slate. He's got the solid matchup against Seattle, who strikes out 30% of the time versus righties. It's ugly. Seattle is definitely the offense you want to pick on so far this year. Giolito's only given up a 212 average versus lefties, a 223 versus righties. He's got a strikeout rate north of 25% versus both. 27% against righties, 25% against lefties. He limits hard contact. Giolito is a very solid option, and at 9.3, I really, really love him. He's my favorite spend up on this slate. All right, I do like Darvish against San Fran. Obviously, I like guys like Kershaw against Oakland. I do like these top guys right here too. But honestly, Giolito's my favorite of the bunch with Price involved as well, and I just really like his spot here. Next up, now you could go for a couple guys. Now the guy in the high five is going to be Alzolay. All right, Alzolay. We're gonna go Adbert Alzolay as our SP2 today. Now the thing that sticks out to me here is he's got a solid K rate. He's got a decent K rate. The wind is blowing out in Wrigley, which normally I hate to do, but Milwaukee still hasn't been able to show that they can hit the ball. Okay, this offense has been very sluggish so far this year. Alzolay is at home. He's got a decent K rate. Milwaukee's been striking out almost 26% of the time versus righties. They have not been hitting the ball hard. They've not been getting on base well. Yes, the wind is blowing out, so that's a bump for them, but Alzolay at 7.4 is a solid option because when it comes to SP2, unless you spend up for, like, if you pair Giolito up with a Darvish or, a Glass now, one of these top guys up here, I mean, you're taking risks anywhere down here. All right. None of these guys are very good. Any of these guys could get blown up. Now, let's talk about Paxton. Paxton's the guy I considered for a little bit because Paxton's got ridiculous strikeout potential. All right, he's got a solid K rate, but here's the thing. I love Giolito on the other side. A lot of times I don't like playing my pitchers against each other. At least most of the time it'll guarantee you a win for one of them. And if the game just ends up being sluggish offense wise, both of your pitchers can put up solid games, and you can guarantee yourself a little bit of a bonus at the end with a win. But the problem here is that Paxton is a lefty, and he's facing a White Sox team that hits lefties very well. Okay, like I believe Paxton could possibly get blown up here, and that's the part that bothers me here. Because this matchup is not very good. Okay, White Sox as a whole have almost a 200 ISO versus lefties, almost a 400 WOBA. They're just very, very solid versus left-handed pitching. Okay, a lot of dangerous people in this White Sox lineup. I will consider it a lot more if for some reason a guy like Abreu's out or something. I'll consider it a lot heavier, but as long as Abreu's in like I expect him to be, Paxton's. Ugh. I like the pitching environment. I'll say that, and I love the K rate for a guy at only 8.1. I do love that, but the White Sox are so solid versus lefties, it's tough on me. But in GPPs, he's got some solid upside if he does happen to shut him down. Because, it just depends what version of the White Sox that you get. Are we going to get the version that just offensively is just destroying? Or are we going to get the version that strikes out a million times? You never really know. But at the end of the day, the numbers are a bit scary versus lefties for the White Sox. So I'm going to stick with Alzolay, solid K rate. Solid matchup against Milwaukee, who has not shown that they can put the bat on the ball much this year. So I really like that. And they strike out a good bit too. Okay, so the matchup's not bad at all. All right, next up, stuck with Cronenworth yesterday, and I'm going to stay with it as well. He actually led off yesterday and ended up having a solid game for us. He's at home in San Diego. Tatis is probably going to miss this, so pay attention to value that could pop into this lineup. Cronenworth is one of my favorite ones, though. At only 3.6, Cronenworth has north of a 300 batting average. He hits the ball pretty damn hard versus righties. It's a solid position for him. He's got a 263 ISO, 428 WOBA, 336 average. He just hits righties so well. He's so consistent for only 3.6. I'm surprised his price hasn't gone up over 4K yet. He hasn't had any. Well, he had the huge game against Arizona on the first, but outside of that, he's just been consistent, plain and simple. And now that he's up in the top three of this lineup, I love him, especially if he leads off again lefty righty. I love Cronenworth, and with Tatis out, I would expect him to be high in the order again. So Cronenworth once again is just going to be a very solid option going against Sanchez, which is also a solid matchup for lefties because Sanchez gives up a 279 average and a 1.57 whip versus lefties. So it's a solid spot for these guys for sure. One of the spots I wanted to talk about while I was live is let's talk about the matchup against Tanner Roark. Now, when I did my research about these pitchers this morning and I dug deep into it, not only did he have a bad spring and give up an ERA of 8 during the spring. Okay, that's not that big of a deal. I'm not going to put too much merit in that. But this dude has he gives up a 383 average and a 2.04 whip versus righties, which is crazy. Now, a lot of times when you see right-handed pitchers, most of the time those type of numbers are versus lefties, but not with Roark. It's a reverse split. So any righties you can possibly get on this Texas squad is in play. Like Kiner Falefa is decent, even though Falefa is elite versus lefties, not very good versus righties. Roark is so bad that righties on this Texas lineup could be great for a GPP stack. Now, Roark hasn't been bad versus lefties, so that doesn't help Texas much because most of their power comes from that left side with Gallo, Dahl, those guys. But yeah, righties are very interesting from Texas today. I did a breakdown on that Texas lineup. There's not a ton of them, honestly, that hit righties. Like, there's not a ton of righties on this Texas lineup that hit righties well. But, I mean, getting some involvement there for GPP could be definitely interesting. Because, like I said, Roark, 2.04 whip versus righties. That's by far the worst on the slate. That's the best individual matchup that you can get for these batters for Texas. So, it's a great spot. Texas is at home as well. So, they could put up a ton of runs and be a sneaky GPP stack today. I just wanted to mention that. Now, in the outfield, another stack I really like today are the lefties for the Mets. I'm going to start with Michael Conforto. Conforto is in a very, very solid position here. Conforto has a 344 batting average and a .960 OPS versus righties. So he hits the ball hard. He gets on base, plain and simple. And he's only 3.7. He's part of one of my favorite stacks of the day. Going against Anderson, who struggles versus lefties. It's just a solid spot here, okay? Anderson gives up. This is why I like the Mets stack so much, because they have a lot of solid bats in this lineup. Anderson gives up a 328 batting average and a 1.71 whip versus lefties. Okay, that's like second worst on the slate. Okay, so the Mets are very, very interesting to me here, especially the lefties. I really, really love this spot for him. Michael Conforto is going to have a solid game, and I think he's going to get his first home run of the season in this one for sure. Now, we have a game in Coors. I took a look at it. Obviously, Marquez is a solid pitcher overall. On the other side, Weaver is the guy that I would prefer to pick on. Weaver struggles a bit versus lefties especially. So taking some Colorado lefties are especially good. But I found a guy that is priced a little too low. David Peralta at 3.7 in Coors, lefty-righty against Marquez. Not only has he done well versus Marquez in his career already with a 435 batting average versus Marquez in 23 plate appearances. Okay, Peralta hits Marquez well. Not only that, but Peralta's got solid numbers in general versus righties. Okay, so this is a solid spot. Peralta has over a 300 batting average versus right-handed pitching. The game is in Coors. He has shown his BVP versus him. So far, his stats versus Marquez in general are good and also match up with what the numbers say he is versus righties. So David Peralta is very interesting, and you definitely want pieces of Arizona, Colorado, obviously, because Coors is always an offensive dynamite. I'm going to have to take some more time and break down both offenses and really find out which guys I really, really want out of here. But for now, David Peralta is one of the guys that definitely sticks out to me. He should be hitting fairly well in this order. And anytime he's facing a righty, he's in play, especially at only 3.7 in Coors. Yes, please. And that's it. We got Giolito, Alzolay, or Paxton if you want to go GPP, but he does have a chance to get blown up against the White Sox. But we could also get another version where he just strikes out a ton. Cronenworth, Conforto, and Peralta is the high five. Let's go ahead and get into the home run predictions. All right, so get you a piece of paper out or something like that. Now, as always, when I'm doing these home run predictions, I just look at all slates of the day. Okay, so if I say a player that's not in the main slates because he's in the earlier night or whatever, and if you're playing those slates, make sure you take advantage. I'm talking overall the day in general. All games on today. What guys that I like the most and are in home run spots. We all know the biggest thing when it comes to DFS, getting your pitchers right and getting some bats that can get you that double dong, and you've got takedown upside. Okay, so with that being said, let's go. Here we go. Home run predictions. Let me see. Who's my first favorite guy I want to go with? Let's go Michael Conforto first, just because I love that dude so much today, and I love these Mets. I really, really love these Mets today. Pete Alonso, another Met that is in a solid position today. I talked about the righties for Texas, but I got to talk about Joey Gallo just because Rourke is so bad, and I love this Texas stack. So if you're stacking, you're going to have to get Gallo in there. He's got too much power, and he's been hitting way too well this year. Toscar Hernandez is a solid option. Vladimir Guerrero. Avisail Garcia is a solid option. He's incredibly cheap at 2.9 today, which is pretty crazy. Let me verify that I had his price right. Avisail Garcia at 2.9 is very cheap for the wind blowing out. He hasn't been great, but he's decent. Let's see. Jose Abreu versus lefty Paxton. Yes, please. Jock Peterson is in a solid position today against Milwaukee. Randall Grichuk. Definitely think some Toronto guys are sneaky today. Guerrero, Toscar, Grichuk. Those guys are solid options. Chris Bryant. And then let's finish it off with... Let's go Peralta. I think Peralta is going to get him one as well. So, we got Michael Conforto, Pete Alonso, Joey Gallo, Toscar Hernandez, Jose Abreu, Jock Peterson, and finishing it off with... Trying to see if there's anybody else I want to add into this real quick. Did I say Chris Bryant again? Chris Bryant for sure. All right, so that's about, 8 or so home run predictions that we got for today. My most confident, my favorite are probably Gallo, Alonso, Conforto, and Abreu. All right. Thank you guys for joining me as always. Greenlightdfs.com. Join the squad, man. Let's smash tonight. I'm doing a giveaway on Twitter at Cam_ATL. However many points that we score tonight in MLB, I'm going to match it and give that dollar amount to one person who joins the squad and is rolling with the squad at greenlightdfs.com tonight. So I'll be choosing a random person who signs up tonight and giving you the dollar amount that we score in MLB. So if we go for 200 tonight, 150, that's 150, $200 going to one person who signs up with Greenlight DFS tonight. All right, let's get it. Takedowns coming. Good luck. Let's get it.